I take this opportunity to sincerely appreciate our management for their constant encouragement and support, our principal sir for his visionary leadership and guidance, our collaborators from ICAI and industry for bridging the gap between academics and professional practice, and the faculty coordinators, organizing committee members, and student volunteers who have worked tirelessly to make this event a reality. Dear students, I encourage you to participate actively, ask questions, share opinions, and make the most of this platform. Remember, learning happens best when curiosity meets opportunity. With these words, I now invite our respected principal sir to formally welcome the gathering and share his thoughts. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Very good. Respected guests on the dais, other dignitaries of BITS Computers, BITS Code Private Limited, and other faculty members and my dear students. It's indeed a matter of great pride to organize this budget bus, 3 or 4 days program for the students in association with Kalyan Nobali branch of Western India Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and BIT Code Lab Private Limited. Friends, let me tell you, our Department of Commerce is organizing this budget bus program since last many years, and we see that there is a tremendous, thought process that is being moved in the mind of the students, that learning budget is very essential, number one. Number two, we are all commerce and management students, we must learn, and that too in the presence of or from a person who is senior most chartered accountant in the vicinity, not only in Kalyan Nobali branch, but overall Western India Regional Council, who has name and fame, C.A. Shekhar Patwardhan. जोरदार तालियां होनी चाहिए सर के लिए. Sir is a renowned chartered accountant and who has been practicing since long and who has been mastered in giving the all required services to MSMEs plus finance, plus he is best in handling all litigation cases in tribunal or at various levels of income tax commissioner level. So it's like an opportunity for all of us to budget उनसे सुनना चाहिए कि जो उसमें मास्टर है. जैसे हम लोगों को कुछ हुआ तो we go to the specialized doctor, right? वैसे ही finance is such a thing, we must listen from the great personalities in this field. आपने को मालूम रहेगा, आपको मम्मी डैडी को पूछोगे तो महीने का बजट बनता है, पापा से सैलरी कितना आएगा और फीस में कितना जाएगा, रेशन पे कितना जाएगा, मोबाइल बिल पे कितना जाएगा, and whole lot of budget revolves around the sources of money that is coming in. Friend, similarly is the matter when it comes to country. A finance minister take charge, find out the sources of income from various taxes or say income tax, GST and customs and everything, and how that money is being spent on various infrastructure, salary related matters and all development including education. We must listen, we must study, and the thing which is important is why this lecture is in the beginning of this budget bus is because tomorrow we are participating in quiz competition. Tomorrow you are presenting budget by whatever presentations you have. Maybe some students will crack some jokes on budget, or maybe there is some group discussion. There are certain cash prizes for poster making competitions and everything that is being organized. Okay, so दोस्तों ये opportunity है सीखने का, ये opportunity है. BITS वालों ने भी आपको बताया टैली क्या होता है. You know, whenever we go for job and we are going for any interview in corporate, लोग पहले पूछते टैली आता है. मैं आपको कहना चाहता हूँ कि 12th के बाद I was working in a chartered accountant's office, and thereafter my career started becoming chartered accountant. So, in beginning itself, if you learn tally, if you listen to such great personalities about budget and all financial matter, it will be great opportunity in your life. Many doors will get open because of such learning from educators or professionals. I congratulate Department of Commerce for continuously organizing budget bus in series of years, and again thank Bedcode and Kalyan Doboli branch of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for helping in this mission of educating or giving out of the box knowledge to the student. So thank you very much. एक बार जोर से तालियां बजनी चाहिए सीए शेखर पटोल के लिए, सीए इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए और देश के लिए. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating and encouraging address. We are truly honored to have with us today an eminent professional from the field of finance and taxation. Now I invite Ms. Gayatri Aloni to introduce our distinguished guest, CA Shekhar Patwardhan, sir. Over to you, Gayatri.
Thank you, Dame. Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce today's distinguished guest, C.A. Shekhar Patwardhan sir, who needs no special introduction in the field of accounting, taxation, and professional education. C.A. Shekhar Patwardhan sir is a practicing chartered accountant since 1999, with over 26 years of rich professional experience. He is a partner at MSPP and Associates, chartered accountants with offices in Thane and Dombivli, which is widely known for his expertise in income tax affiliate matters. Apart from his professional practice, he has made significant contributions to society and the profession. He is a past chairman of Rotary Pragati Trust and currently serves as the managing trustee and secretary of Sadhguru Shri Radha Ramanujan Charitable Trust, which actively supports medical and educational aid for the needy. He is also expert trustee of Shri Siddhivinayak Mandir, Tipaka. C.A. Patwardhan sir has been deeply associated with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI, holding several key positions. He has served as deputy convener and convener of Dombivli CPE Study Circle, founder managing committee member of Kalyan Dombivli branch of WIRC of ICAI, and later as vice chairman and chairman of the same branch. He has successfully led and organized numerous professional programs, including the prestigious Mega GST Conclave, and has served on various WIRC committees for many years. His academic contributions include inputs to ICAI's revised guidance note on tax audit, contributions to WIRC referencer editions, the budget book on the Union Budget Book of 2023, the budget book on Finance Bill 2024 published by WIRC. Currently, he is a member of FEMA, International Tax and Direct Tax Committee of WIRC, and has been a regular speaker on union budget proposals for the past 9 years, delivering insightful lectures at seminars, conferences, and study circles across WIRC branches. He is also a member of Income Tax Affiliate Tribunal Bar Association, Mumbai, further reflecting his strong standing in the field of taxation. With his vast experience, practical insight, and passion for knowledge sharing, we are truly honored to have him with us today. Please join me in giving a warm and enthusiastic welcome to our esteemed guest, C.A. Shekhar Patwardhan sir. Now I request Principal sir and Vice Principal madam to felicitate our guest. Now comes the most awaited part of the program. I request our esteemed guest, C.A. Shekhar Patwardhan sir, to enlighten us with his valuable thoughts and expert insight on the topic Budget for the Common Man.
respected dignitaries, Principal Devandikar sir, Vice Principal Sana Khan madam, teachers and the students. It gives me an immense pleasure in presenting before you the highlights of Budget 2026. Being a teacher at heart, it's a nice feeling for me that I am again amongst the students, and for that I really thankful to the management of the Achievers College for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Gayatri, thank you very much for nice introduction. These days with artificial intelligence, where is Gayatri? Used AI? Then that's great. Give her a round of applause. So let us understand, friends, the syllabus for the day. So first we are going to start with the meaning and definition of certain economic and budget terms, because unless you understand those budget terms, it's not easy to understand the overall budget. Then we are going to understand the meaning and objectives of budget. Then the general information regarding the union budget, the sources of funds for the central government, what are the application of funds for central government. We understand we are all commerce students, so we read a balance sheet in the form of application of funds and the sources of funds. So same how it works at the union government level, that we are going to study. Then we are going to understand the contribution of direct taxes in overall tax revenue. Then the contribution of indirect taxes in overall tax revenue. Then we are going to understand the theme of the budget, of Budget 2026. Then we are going to focus, which are the thrust areas, because you are all students, and obviously for career you must understand which are the thrust areas, which are the upcoming industrial areas, and similarly which are the upcoming service areas. So which are the upcoming industrial sectors as well as the service sectors that we are going to focus. Then we are going to talk about the importance of the capital expenditure, CapEx, in budget. And then to summarize, we will also talk about the key takeaways of Union Budget 2026. So as I said, we are going to start with the meaning and definition of economic and budget terms. See, I am also a teacher, and I know very well that for the students, economics is not a popular subject. Nobody likes to study economics, unfortunately. But if you want to progress in your career as a commerce student, then it's very essential that you understand economics. And that is why we are going to talk about the so many important terms. Friends, as sir said, as far as the budget is concerned, budget starts with a family. Then obviously to corporates as well. There are so many opportunities as far as this budgeting activity is concerned in corporates. So many people do career in this budgeting activity. An institution like say Achievers College, for this college also this exercise of budget is so important. So ultimately, whether at individual level, whether at corporate level, or whether at any institutional level, if your budget is correct, if your budget is strong, then that gives a sustainability to the institution. Ultimately, the success depends on how the budgeting is taking place. So let us understand the concepts one by one. First one is open economy. So as the word indicates, open economy means we are open. Open to what? Open to finance as well as trade and business. Every now and then we listen that now the world has become a common village. That means overall, as far as the goods are concerned or the manpower is concerned, continuously the exchange is happening, and that is what we call it as globalization. And when it's a globalized country, that particular economy is called as open economy. So theoretically or rather practically, almost all the economies of the world are today open economies. Then the concept of closed economy, as the word indicates, it's closed. So you are not interacting either financially also or from the point of view of manpower also. Then those economies are called as closed economies. As I said, now practically all the economies of the country have become open economy. So you can say this closed economy has become now a theoretical concept. Then the concept of convertibility of rupee. So let us understand, friends, this concept of convertibility of rupee. What do you mean by convertibility of rupee? See, when we were kids at that time, in our country, the movies which we saw the Amitabh Bachchan movies in our times, and in those movies, the topic was smuggling, because at that time, our country was short of foreign exchange. And as the country was short of foreign exchange, we were not having the foreign exchange. That is why it was not possible for the government to allow the people to spend money, to spend foreign exchange. And that's why there were so many restrictions. I will give you an example of gold. So today gold is, you can buy gold, there are no restrictions, but at those times, there were restrictions, there were license for purchasing the gold, because ultimately the gold comes after paying the foreign exchange. So when there are restrictions on the spending of the money, then we call it as, then we say that the rupee is not convertible fully. Today, if you see, the foreign exchange is not a problem. That's why any Indian person can buy a house in London also. Of course, there are certain monetary limits, but that is possible nowadays, which was not possible, say 25 years back. So this concept, this is called as, when the foreign exchange you can freely spend, there are no restrictions at all. If that is the case, then that is called as rupee is fully convertible. Of course, in our country also it is not yet fully convertible. There are certain restrictions in certain fields, but by and large you can say the situation had changed a lot when we were kids and the situation which we witness in the market as of now. So this is the concept of convertibility of rupee. Then the concept of direct tax. So as you know, as the word indicates, direct tax, when it is direct, when it is on a particular individual, when that individual or corporate is going to pay that tax from pocket, then that is called as direct tax. And when the tax is on goods and services, then that tax obviously is called as indirect tax. It is indirect because it is not on you. When you are buying those goods and services, obviously then you are paying the taxes, and that's why it is called as indirect tax. Then the most talked about topic as on date is this concept of tariff and the duties. You must have heard that just a couple of days back, the President of the United States has declared that we are going to have an agreement with India where the duties are going to be 18%. So we discussed earlier the concept of globalization. When the goods are moving freely from one country to another country, that is basically the concept of globalization. But now what we are witnessing, unfortunately, is they are going to impose the taxes on the goods, say, coming from India. Why? Because ultimately what they feel is you are enjoying our market, you are dumping your goods which are cheaper because in our country manpower is cheaper, and that's why those goods you are selling it here and you are earning profits, and that is not in the interest of our industry, and that is why we are going to impose the duties. So that is the concept of duties and tariffs. So these are certain concepts I feel as a commerce student you must know. And another point is basically this general knowledge. Ultimately we are all commerce students. That's why, as sir said, you must have this general knowledge, and this general knowledge comes from reading of newspapers, or nowadays obviously so much information is available on the social media as well. But this, unless you have this information, this knowledge, ultimately what is important for everyone as a student is personality development. And वो personality development कोई class लगाने से नहीं होता. This is what you need to do on your own. Then the concept of deficit financing. What do you mean by deficit financing? See, ultimately for a government, there are sources, that is from where the money comes, and then applications, that is use of money. So income of the government, you can say in simple words, and the expenditure of the government. If the income of the people is, if the income of the government is 100 and the suppose expenditure is say 110, then that means expenditure is exceeding the income. Now you will ask then from where that excess money is coming. Obviously that excess money is coming by way of borrowings. Now to a certain extent, when the expenditure, like a country like us, where our country, you know, is having the largest population in the world. So for a country like us, this deficit financing, acts as a medicine. But it acts as a medicine only when you take it in a correct spirit. Only when the percentage of deficit is right. And that is why the next concept came into existence, and that is fiscal responsibility and the budget, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act 2023. This act is called as FRBM. So what is this act talks about? It says that basically when, as I said, what is deficit financing? Ultimately, when the expenditure is increasing, expenditure is exceeding the income, that is called as deficit financing. But the expenditure is exceeding the income to what extent? To what extent the government is allowed, or rather government should spend. For that, the government itself put restrictions in the year 2003, and that is called as the FRBM Act. So whenever you are reading the budget, you will always read deficit financing. You will always read reference to FRBM Act, So according to this FRBM Act, it says that this deficit financing is fine, this deficit financing is allowed, but it should not exceed the 3%. As far as the current government is concerned, obviously in a country like us, we are going to have a deficit budget, and the current budget is also a deficit budget, but to a great extent that deficit is in control. So government is trying to reach this goal. The ultimate goal is your deficit should be less than 3%. That is the ultimate goal. We have not achieved that goal, but obviously the things are moving in a right direction. So after understanding these important terms, now let us come to the meaning and objectives of budget. So ultimately, what is Union Budget? Union Budget is a financial blueprint prepared by the Ministry of Finance, detailing its expected revenue from various sources and planned as well as unplanned expenditures to be incurred by the government in the upcoming financial year. So this is what we discussed. Ultimately, it's a map of the sources and the expenditure. So what are the ultimate objectives of the budget? That basically it ensures efficient allocation of resources. The country has the resources, but then those resources need to be utilized in a proper manner. You also have resources. You as a student, you have resources, but then ultimately you also as a student must utilize your resources in a proper manner. कितना टाइम सोशल मीडिया पे स्पेंड करना है, ultimately it is what? It is allocation of your resources, and that is what ultimately we try to do in budget also. Then obviously again as a country having huge population, we have to accept that there are wealth and income disparities. So always the objective is to reduce that disparities. Then obviously the ultimate goal is to reduce the unemployment and the poverty level. Then to have a check on prices, that is controlling inflation, and obviously managing the tax structure. As far as the tax structure is concerned, we are going to discuss in detail later on. Then general information regarding the union budget. Basically, who prepares the budget? That budget is basically prepared by the budget division of the Department of Economic Affairs within the Ministry of Finance, a process involving consultation with other ministries, Niti Aayog, and ultimately presented by the Finance Minister in Parliament. The date of presentation, that date of presentation is always 1st of February. And now the question comes up is why the budget is presented on 1st of February? Ultimately, budget is presented on 1st of February because when it is presented in the Parliament, it is a draft bill, and that draft bill need to be passed by both the houses of Parliament. And when it gets passed after due deliberation, due discussion, then that becomes a Finance Act, say Finance Act 2026. And that is why, that discussion, that deliberation has to happen. And that's why it is presented on 1st of February. You all know in our country, the financial year starts from 1st of April. So therefore, in this budget session of Parliament, the budget gets passed. Ultimately, unless that budget gets passed, government is not authorized to spend a single rupee. And that's why a budget is presented on 1st of February. Who has presented the budget? Our Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented the budget for 2026-27 with 9 consecutive budget. The madam becomes the longest serving finance minister, and it's a great example of empowered woman. So let's give a round of applause. Shri Nirmala Sitharaman presented the budget for 9th time. and it's a clear example of women empowerment that shows that a woman is handling the finance of the country so well, and the Prime Minister is having confidence that he has given her a long stint of 9 long years. Now she has become the longest serving finance minister in the country. Now coming to the topic of the sources of funds. What are the various sources of funds? So certain terms, the terms which are difficult, for that the explanation is given in the presentation. So first one is corporate taxes. As you know, corporate taxes, basically the income tax on companies is called as corporate taxes. Then the next is the borrowings and the liabilities. Next come income tax. Then next comes the GST and the other income tax, GST and other taxes. Then customs and the excise duties. Then non-debt capital receipts. So non-debt capital receipts. See, what are these non-debt capital receipts? I will just explain in simple terms. Basically, as far as the government is concerned, government also is the owner of shares. Government also is a shareholder. We call certain banks as nationalized banks. So that means nationalized banks means the government is a owner in those banks, and whenever government wants to sell some of the shares, they can sell some of the shares and get the money, and that is basically non-debt capital receipts. And then non-tax revenue. As we have investments, similarly government also has investments, and from those investments the returns come, and those returns come under the category of non-tax revenue. So basically these are the sources of the funds. Then we have this pie chart that rupee comes from where. So rupee comes from where, in that the major portion obviously comes by way of taxes, and that taxes we discussed, taxes are of two types, that is direct tax and indirect taxes. So as far as the direct taxes are concerned, the company's tax, it is 18%, and the income tax, the contribution is 21%. So overall contribution of direct tax is 39%, or you can say overall contribution of income tax is 39%. Then the customs, the central excise and the GST. So all these taxes are basically called as indirect taxes, and the overall contribution of indirect taxes is this 4% plus 6% plus 15%. So the overall contribution from the indirect taxes is 25%. So you can say out of 100, 39 comes from direct taxes and 25 comes from the indirect taxes. So obviously the major portion for the government comes by way of taxes. Then the application of funds, where the rupee goes. So wherever the terms are difficult, I will try to explain. State share of taxes. So the central government is giving the share to the states. Then the other expenditures, civil pension, obviously no need to explain. Then central sector schemes. So many schemes are run by the central government, and for that obviously the government is paying for that. Then major subsidies, that is 6%. So from the COVID times, you must be knowing that on the ration you get a free food, or for that matter the fertilizers are available at a lower price. So that is basically is called as the subsidies. Then defense, where the money goes, it is 11% as far as the defense sector is concerned. And on this defense sector, this year particularly, the more budget has been allocated. Who are our neighbors? Hello, who are our neighbors? And because of our neighbors, and because of our troubles with the neighbors, the defense budget significantly has increased this year. See, defense, we are having one of the largest armies in the world. Apart from that, what is important in defense is the technology, the various equipments, and this year, particularly on various equipments, the allocation has increased, and that's why the defense allocation overall has increased. Next. Yeah. Now coming to the contribution of income tax in overall tax revenue. So basically direct tax in the country is called as income tax, and this direct tax is administered by the Central Board of Direct Taxes. As far as the overall tax collection is concerned, for 24-25 the tax collection was 22.24 lakh crores. So these figures are in lakh crores. So for 24-25 financial year, the income tax collection was 22.24 lakh crores. See, as far as the tax rates are concerned, we must know what are the good points about our country, and that is why I would like to share that as a commerce student, you must know that as far as the income tax is concerned, personal income tax is concerned, in our country, from this financial year up to 12 lakhs, there is no tax. समझ रहे हो? Up to 12 lakhs, there is no tax at all. अभी ये जो बेसिक एग्जम्पशन लिमिट है, this basic exemption limit कहां से डिसाइड होता है? That globally decided criteria is that limit has to be decided by your per capita income. Everybody is a student of economics. Hello. So everybody understands what is per capita income? The total income of the country divided by population. That is called as the per capita income. कितना है per capita income as far as our country is concerned? It is in the range of 2,25,000. 2,25,000 अपना per capita income है, और income tax नहीं है कितने लाख तक? 12 लाख. So this is about the individual taxes. Friends, about the companies taxes also, let me tell you, as far as the corporate taxes are concerned, the corporate taxes, it is 15% for new manufacturing units and 20 to 25% for the others. Say if you take the advanced countries of the world, वहां पे the tax rate is much more than these tax rates. हम लोग as a developing country, we are competing. अपना competition किसके साथ है? अपना competition है with the Vietnam. अपना कंपटीशन है इंडियन कंपनीज का चाइना के साथ, वियतनाम के साथ, मलेशिया के साथ, इंडोनेशिया के साथ, एंड इन ऑल दीज कंट्रीज the tax rates are in this range, and that's why now our tax rates also are in that range. So overall आप taxation देखोगे तो पूरे दुनिया में we are having one of the lowest taxes, and this I feel as a student you must know. Then coming to the contribution of the indirect taxes in overall tax revenue. So when it comes to indirect taxes, let me first explain you the indirect taxes. Try to understand. ये जो manufacturing है, the manufacturing happens in a country. Before 2017, there were different taxes. जो manufacturing में tax लगता था, we used to call it as central excise. Then sale पे जो tax लगता था, उसको बोलते थे VAT. Then जो चीजें import होती है या export होती है, उसके ऊपर जो tax लगता था, it was customs duty. And वो सारे tax मिलाकर one tax, all these taxes were brought under one tax name, and we call it as GST. So this GST, bringing GST is called as one of the most important tax reforms that have taken place in our country. So ये GST आया from 2017. So सारे टैक्स अभी मर्ज हो गए एक टैक्स में and we call it as GST. So as far as this GST is concerned, the tax collection as far as GST for 24-25 is concerned, it was 15.72 lakh crores. Now, after understanding the contribution of the taxes, now coming to the theme of the budget. So this theme of the budget, sir just presented the Bhagavad Gita, and as far as the theme of the budget, it is with that Gita name only. So it says that first, what is important is growth. As I told you, we are having the largest population in the world. So ये largest population in the world का देश है, उस सबको basic necessities fulfill होने के लिए what is required is growth. Ultimately, a country like us, huge size, huge population, that has to grow, and वो grow ultimately कितना होना चाहिए? You know, ultimately every government aims for a higher and higher growth. Currently, we are growing at a rate of say 7%. Then the next area is I for infrastructures. So I for infrastructure, आप देख रहे हो, the metro is coming in Kalyan. The airports, new airport has come in our Navi Mumbai. So in our vicinity also, we see that the roads are coming up, ports are coming up, airports are coming, highways are coming, bullet trains are coming. So this all is called as infrastructure. Of course, we will we'll discuss more about the infrastructure in capex. Then next is technology. आज के तारीख में technology is something which is of a paramount importance in all the field. आप कौन सा भी field लो, what is playing a key role is technology. Of course, on that technology front also we will discuss. And then self-reliance, Atmanirbharta, how the country can become self-reliance. Ultimately, that is also the ultimate goal for any government. So as far as the theme of the budget is concerned, it is Gita, that is growth, infrastructure, technology, and Atmanirbharta, that is self-reliance. Then let us understand, as I told you, you are all students, so that's why you must know that which are the industrial sectors, which are upcoming sectors and important sectors. And in that, the most important one that we are going to discuss is semiconductor mission. सुना है ये word semiconductor mission? सुना है semiconductor mission? See, आज के तारीख में we use so many electronic goods. Like computing devices हम लोग use करते हैं, microprocessors और normal our computers, laptops. Then electronic goods use करते हैं, जैसे कि smartphones है, smart television है, energy solutions use करते हैं, जैसे solar panel आज mandatory है लगाना. Then the automobile and medical field में vehicles में भी sensors लगे हुए हैं. So wherever the electronics is there, उसके लिए जो लगता है raw material, that is basically the semiconductor. तब अब तक हम लोग नहीं बनाते थे ये semiconductor. For the first time, the major semiconductor manufacturing facility has started in Gujarat in this year itself, that is 25-26. Earlier we talked about the self-reliance. So yeah, as I told you, this semiconductor is used everywhere. So ये अगर semiconductor every field में अगर लगने वाला है, and if we are dependent on that particular product for the other countries, then we may face trouble at some times, and that's why the initiative of the government is let us manufacture this semiconductor in our own country, and this is a very, very upcoming field as far as the overall industrial development of the country is concerned. Then coming, the next field that is coming is mining. Again, mining, ultimately the oil, the gold, whatever is the precious, ultimately everything that is precious comes from mining. So that's why this is again a next area which is a thrust area. Then dedicated chemical parks. Then dedicated initiative for manufacturing of affordable sports goods. Then the scheme to revive 200 industrial clusters. Then biopharma. Again, biopharma is something which is a very upcoming field. Then high-tech tools for central public sector enterprises. Then the scheme for container manufacturing. See, ultimately what is important is logistic. We have seen that now entire world has become one. So transport के लिए ultimately containers लगते हैं, and there is a scheme for manufacturing the containers. Then obviously integrated program for the textiles. So many times, as I told you, as a student, we must know that as far as the textiles are concerned, we are the number one. As far as the jeans, many a times, the branded jeans, what happens is a person goes to America and then he buys the jeans. But ultimately, वो branded product है जो यहाँ से ही गया है. From our country only we are exporting the textiles. And आदमी को लगता है कि I have brought this and this is a American product. In fact, we are the best manufacturers as far as the textiles is concerned. So obviously there is a scheme for the boosting the textile sector in the country. Then obviously electronics component manufacturing schemes. So as I told you, electronics is a very upcoming field. So many gadgets we are using, and that is all electronics. So that's why there is a scheme for the boosting the electronic components, and then strengthening domestic manufacturing of high value and technologically advanced construction and infrastructure equipment. So these are the thrust areas as far as the budget is concerned for the government. These are the sectors which the government feels are very upcoming sectors. Then comes the next initiative, and that next initiative is support to MSMEs. Now, what is this MSME? So let us understand what do you mean by, first of all, MSMEs. So MSMEs, the micro, small and medium sector enterprises. जो छोटा एंटरप्रेनर है, जो छोटी कंपनी है, वही आगे जाके बड़ी होने वाली है. जो स्मॉल आइडियाज है, आज इन्फोसिस सबको पता है, is a very giant company having offices almost all over the world. But ये इन्फोसिस स्टार्ट हुई थी 4 इंजीनियर्स के घर में, and then it became a global company. So कोई भी आइडिया पहले छोटा ही होता है, and then that becomes big. आजकल आप हर जगह सुनोगे the word startups. ये startups भी क्या है, कोई एक आइडिया लेके आता है and वो आइडिया क्लिक करता है, and then that because of that idea itself, that entrepreneur or that company becomes big. And that's why the initiative of the government is to boost such small and medium size entrepreneurs. अभी इसमें वर्ड्स है माइक्रो. अभी माइक्रो किसको बोलते हैं? Micro means your investment in the company is less than or equal to 1 crore, and आपका turnover is less than or equal to 5 crore. Then small का मतलब है M के बाद आता है small means आपका investment है less than 10 crores and आपका turnover है less than or equal to 50 crores. Then आता है medium means your investment is less than or equal to 50 crores and the turnover is less than or equal to 250 crores. So obviously the government wants to encourage these small, micro, small and medium level enterprises. Why, friends? Why it wants to support? Because as I said, ours is a labor surplus country. हमेशा समझो, ours is a labor surplus country, and what we are short of, अपने पास क्या नहीं है, we are scarce as far as the capital is concerned. So we are a capital scarce and a labor surplus country. So ये जो MSMEs है, ये MSMEs basically they employ a large number of population, and their industries are basically labor intensive. Labor intensive होने की वजह से ultimately it gives employment to large number of people, and that is the reason government wants to support these small and medium sector enterprises. अभी support मतलब what the government is going to give them. Let us discuss that. First of all, it is equity support. So ये जो small companies है, ये जो small entrepreneurs है, उनके पास क्या नहीं है, उनके पास capital नहीं है, capital की कमी है. So government is going to support them by way of a capital. Then government is going to support them by way of a liquidity support through the various finance schemes. So आज अगर कोई भी entrepreneur suppose if it is a MSME and goods बेचता है, suppose he has sold the goods of 1 crore, अभी 1 crore के goods he has sold, अभी 1 crore के goods he has sold on credit basis. इसका मतलब ultimately he has invested that 1 crore rupees. वो पैसा जब तक वापस नहीं आता, his business cycle नहीं चलेगा, and that's why वो जो उसने पैसा, suppose he has sold the goods on credit basis, तो वो पैसा fast उसके पास कैसे आए, उसका जो वर्किंग कैपिटल है वो बना रहे, उसकी बिजनेस की साइकिल चलती रहे, उसके लिए जो स्कीम्स है, that is liquidity support through TRDS. And then to these enterprises, to these companies, ultimately there is a scheme of the government to help them professionally as well. So this is all about support to MSMEs. Then the next one is the renewed emphasis on the service sector. See, ये service sector से ही our country has become popular globally. As you must be knowing that ultimately we are known for our software skills. हम लोग क्या export कर रहे हैं? क्यों अपना नाम है? Because our software companies are absolutely very popular all over the world. And that is basically the service sector. So ये service sector में the thrust of the government, the emphasis of the government is to grow this service sector. अभी ये service sector में क्या क्या आता है? Let us talk about that. First of all, health. See, globally, जैसे मैंने बताया कि as a citizen of this country, in advanced countries like USA also, the best of the best doctors are Indians. So what we are providing, हम लोग क्या दे रहे हैं दुनिया को? We are giving best health professionals to all over the world, and that is why the emphasis on the health sector, the emphasis on जैसे डॉक्टर है, डॉक्टर के अलावा so many paramedical support is needed in medical profession. So the emphasis on also on to support that paramedical. Then next one is obviously the service sector, because as I said, the services are the drivers. Then medical tourism, this is also a very important concept. आज जो बड़े लोग होते हैं from our country, उनको अगर medical treatment चाहिए, तो many times what they do is the actors or politicians, they go abroad in advanced countries to get the medical facilities. But as far as our country is concerned, now what we are also becoming popular in medical tourism. दुनिया के बहुत सारे देश ऐसे हैं जिसमें मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज नहीं है, वो सारे लोग अपने देश में आकर ultimately they take the medical facilities, and this is basically called as medical tourism. जैसे नॉर्मल टूरिज्म है, वैसे ही this medical tourism concept is becoming more and more popular in our country, and obviously government wants to encourage this medical tourism, because इससे ही क्या होगा, ultimately country को foreign exchange मिलेगा. So that's why this is a very upcoming field. Then the Ayush, see what we have given, again हमने क्या दिया है दुनिया को. So क्या दिया है उसमें, one is Ayurveda and second is yoga. So this Ayurveda and yoga both are becoming very very popular globally, and that is why this government wants to promote this Ayurveda and yoga again all over the world. Next one, the next important service sector is orange economy. अभी social media is playing a very important role. तो अगेन दिस इज फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू. आज के तारीख में कंटेंट राइटर, सुना है ना नाम कंटेंट राइटर्स, आज हम लोग सब सोशल मीडिया पे देखते हैं एंड इन्फ्लुएंस हो जाते हैं. सो सबसे बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंशियल क्या है आज के तारीख में? सोशल मीडिया है. एंड सोशल मीडिया पे कंटेंट बनाने वाले, उनको क्या बोलते हैं? दे आर कंटेंट राइटर्स. सो दिस इज अगेन अ वेरी अपकमिंग फील्ड फॉर यू एज अ स्टूडेंट. And that's why the government wants to promote this particular service sector, these content writers. So government feels that आपसे भी बहुत सारे लोग, this is a very very paying area. So this is for all of you Gen Z के लिए. Then again next one is design, that is setting up a new National Institute of Design.